All right, we're ready to get started again. It's a good thing I put that plastic on there the other day because it rained yesterday and I wasn't able to work on this. Beautiful day today. We're going to get started on it. What we're going to do is get my measurement right here where the point goes, and I can see the raw wood, so I know where my point goes, from right there to the edge of this plywood. And then I'm going to add a 1/2 inch overhang past that. I have 24 1/4 from there, so what I'm going to do is take this and measure it back to 23 3/4. Get it right here, 23 3/4. That gives me my 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to have these touch from here to a 1/2 inch over here and let it touch. I take my 1/2 inch right here, mark it, and get this line. Now this is going to meet with this and roll up a little bit. And we'll trim that off. Over here. And this will just square off right here. Whenever you're cutting plywood, you always leave your line on your workpiece. Get right next to it, but leave that line. That way you have a reference point. You can see where you're at. If you're off a little bit, you can come back and clean it up and you have a line to go off of. Another thing is, if you cut on the wrong side of this line, you're going to have your piece too short. So leave that line on there. It's going to be a pretty good fit right there. I want to get an accurate measurement for this, for my soffit. So what I'm going to do is tack this board on here, right against there, with one screw so I can take it out and it's easy to pack it before I paint it. That way I can get a good measurement. It'll be in place. Here, 16. Notice my blade placement when I'm cutting my wood. I want to keep this line, so I try to keep my blade on this side. Sometimes I have to cut it on the other side where I can't see the line as well. But right here, if you have the opportunity to do it, cut it to where you'll see the line and the blade can go right next to it. It's a lot easier to do that. When you go to slip this back in, it is going to fit tight. So what I'm going to do is knock just a little edge off the top of this, so when it fits inside the groove of the face, it's going to slip in there easily and I'm not going to have to fight with it. So I'm just going to take this and taper a little bit off the edge and clean this edge up a little. Just slip into that channel a little easier. Let's put her up. I cut 2 small blocks, one to go on this side of my outlet and one to go on this side. And I did that so I could run some tacks in it. When I put my plywood up, it'll match. It'll keep it the same height as this. So then I can take some Bondo and fill in that crack and sand it. You won't even know there's a seam there. Even if you don't get a perfectly straight cut. If your cut's rough, you can still fill that in as long as you have a block behind it. It's going to give something to adhere to. It's not going to move because you're going to tack both sides to it. And then you just fill it in with Bondo and sand it. Nobody will ever know. Of course, I'm using my sweet cordless gun again. galvanized nails I have in here, 1.25 inches, just to tack this in place. You don't have to use 2x, I use 2x4s for this. Whatever scrap wood you have, you can put in there. Now we're ready to put our wood in. I'm going to slip it right in the groove here. Perfect. I'm going to tack it in place. Left hand on that. Now that it's tacked here, I know I have a piece of wood right here. And I have one up front. Even these out. Perfect. Right there. It's like a glove. With my proscribed tape measure, I can see exactly where this goes. I take it from the back side and I line this up with my guide. Now I'm going to pull it up 1/4 inch over and I'll make a mark. I'm going to shoot right under that line and it's going to be in the center of my board. Perfect. All right. I've decided to go ahead and replace this piece. I don't want to fill in the bottom part with Bondo. I don't mind doing the corners or any hole. It's in the middle. But this hanging off the bottom, it's kind of rotted all the way through here. So I'm going to pull this out. It's only a few feet. I'm going to have to take this drip edge loose. I might not have to take it all the way off. We'll see. I'll start prying on it. We'll see what we have. If I have to take it off, no big deal. We'll take it off. Luckily, this little quick stand that I made can go flat on the wall or on the corner. So I'm going to scoot it over to give me room to work on the front. Those 2 blocks on the back against the house, those are just temporary blocks. I can screw them, unscrew them, pull them out, and get them to the height I need and put them back on. That's just extra bracing. I set it up against the house, and once it's leaning against the house at the right height, I can adjust those. Now I've got to get up here and run a razor blade on the back side to cut that caulk so I can break this loose. What I'm going to do is split this, pull it down and see if it comes out. If it's not nailed to there. I think I can get it once I break this loose. That's what I have my measurements, 2 outside cuts, so it's going to be real easy. But I'm going to show you how to set your saw and double check your degree of angle before you make your cut. And in order to do that, I'll unplug my saw, I'll pull my guide up, I'll take my Swanson speed square, and I set it right up against the plate here. When this sets up against the plate, this 45-degree angle should sit right up against my blade, and it should be perfect. Then I can lock it down. I know I'm right. I have my board clamped. I use my speed square as a guide, and now I'm going to make the first cut. After I make this cut, I'll get my measurement. Flip it over. I need 45.5 inches. Outside to outside. I'll make my mark. That's my long point. I have caulk and a couple little pieces of wood that are stuck from the old fascia. So I'm going to sand that down real quick. And this is a great sander for that kind of stuff. In case you haven't seen my other videos, I always glue my seams. So I'm cleaning this off to where the glue is going to stick. I'm going to clean it, wipe it down, put some wood glue on here, some exterior wood glue, and put it back. In that corner back there, I don't have anything to glue to, but I'm going to use Bondo and Bondo glass for that. I'm going to take a little acetone and put on it. You can clean it with just about anything, denatured alcohol, anything like that. I just want to make sure that the surface is clean. You're going to want to use a good exterior glue on this. Now this is going to be a tight fit, so we have to be careful putting this back in, not to crack it. It has to go up and into that channel. Perfect. I took the leftover piece from when I mitered this. That was the other piece that went to here. And I broke off the end. I cut it, and just snapped the two ends right here where I can put it in the corner and get a nice corner right here. That gives me something to work off of, because I don't want to really fill Bondo up the whole way. I can fill it up and get to this corner, and I can shape this. That's easy. I could still do it with Bondo glass and then Bondo after that, but I'd rather go ahead and get a corner and make life a little bit easier. So I'm going to take this and just tack it into place.